Okay, I really want to thank you all for coming, and I want to thank everybody here and the people in Puna that have been supporting Puna Pono Alliance because of all of the different people that have been helping us, which are too many to name, events, and turning out at meetings. You've given us, put us in a position to where we can meet with the EPA, we can meet with these HELCO and these different groups that we're dealing with, and they have to listen to us. So it's really important. We've got stuff coming up. We've got legislation coming up at the county council. We're going to be doing anti-fracking legislation at the county council, noise, water. Those bills are going to be coming up, and we really need you guys to show up when you can. I understand we all have jobs and families and things to do, but we also live here, and if we don't stop these geothermal power plants, they're going to build them, and so nobody's going to do it for us. We have to do it. So again, please, come when you can, and you've done a really great job. I mean, they were saying we were a speed bump and they were going to run us over, and I don't think they're saying that anymore. So. So most of you are probably familiar with the PGV plant and the ongoing problems that have been happening since they came online in 1991, 1992, and it hasn't been fixed. It's continuing, and we have problems with monitoring. We have problems with noise and accidents, and nobody seems to want to do anything about it. Our problem really is the lack of regulation. PGV is self-regulating, and so we don't have the Department of Health. When there's an accident, like recently I was reading a document today that said that there was a release in January and the Department of Health monitor picked up a spike of 23 parts per billion, but they don't know where it came from, but it couldn't, actually they said it couldn't be PGV. And so, but they did say we cite our monitor a mile downwind of the PGV plant, and we know historically that the hydrogen sulfide leaks in the area have come from PGV. So it's an example of I don't understand why exactly, other than political influence or corporate influence over politics, why the Department of Health always takes the side of the developer, but that's what's happening. And even at the EPA level, they give us lip service and they work with us to a degree, but we don't really ever quite get there. We've been here now for 30 years with HGPA and PGV, and we still don't have a monitoring system that works. In March of this year, on the 13th, there was a emergency steam release at PGV that released 125,000 pounds of steam, and the highest reading on the PGV monitor was 19 parts per million on their fixed monitor. They had a handheld monitor that read 27 parts per billion. The Department of Health's monitor didn't even hit the 5 part per billion trigger, but Hazmat came out in our community and had a reading of 1,000 parts per billion and 3,000 parts per billion. So basically, Hazmat had readings of over 100 times higher than the PGV monitors, and also I don't even know how many times higher than the one Department of Health monitor, but it shows two things. One, the monitoring system doesn't work, so we do not know what the levels people in the community are being exposed to, and it's absolutely crazy. I mean, it's I don't even know the word for how the government and the developers can want to move forward and build more of these power plants without actually addressing these problems that they cannot deny exist. I agree. There's something wrong with having an agency such as the Department of Health, whose mandate is to protect public health, after 30 years. And when they did this investigation, they found no violation of the permit. And we strenuously disagree with that. We don't think that, and then we read the investigation, they relied on the PGV monitors and the Department of Health monitors to make that determination. And they completely ignored the 3,000 part per billion reading on the hazmat monitors. So they have a 25 part per billion hourly average is what consider a violation of the permit. So that means they can have spikes, but what we think is two things. One, 3,000, we don't know that 3,000 is the high. That was just what they got on the road. I mean, there were other places, there probably, but we know it's at least 3,000 parts per billion. We think that's a violation of the permit. If it's not a violation of the permit, it should be a violation of the permit. So we are asking the Department of Health to reopen the permit. So the other thing I just want to touch on, two more things. One is, I don't know if you're aware of it, but we think the reason they want to build these power plants is not related to the cable. We don't think the cable is very real as far as economic and technical problems. It would be years and years and years before they could run a cable. So what are they going to do with all that power? Right now we have 280 megawatts of generating power and a peak load of 180. So we already have way more power than we need on this island. We think they want to build industry around these power plants, and we think that it's affordable. How can you do that? How can you make ammonia? Ammonia is one of the things they want to make, and hydrogen. But how do you do that? You can't do it if you got to buy power from Helco at 43 cents a kilowatt hour. So the only way that you can do the things, and if you look in the records of the geothermal working group, you'll see they talk about ammonia and other types of manufacturing. The only way that you can do that is to site these other manufacturing plants right next, in our opinion anyway, right next to the geothermal power plants, power them directly from the geothermal power plants. So what that means is there's people in Honolulu, politicians, corporations, that look at Puna as the perfect place to build a giant industrial park. So what we have to decide as a community is, we've built a sustainable community. The state says they want to have a sustainability in, food and in energy. What Puna has done is built that sustainable community, and what do we get for that is that these guys want to come in here and build a giant industrial park. And I don't personally want to live in a giant industrial park, so I hope you guys will help us out. We need to march on Helco. We're going to have a parade on the 17th through Pahoa, where we're going to start out towards Helco. Some people we're going to march with signs. First day they'll get as far as Pohoiki Circle. They're going to camp. We have a campground there. Then the second day we're going to march from Pohoiki Circle to Panieva, where we're going to camp. And then the third day we're going to march into Helco on Monday. Hopefully you'll all join us and bring people to that march on Helco. And we want to stop the contract. Thank you.
Manufacture ammonia, and what's
They want to manufacture ammonia for several reasons. One is agricultural. They use it for fertilizer in traditional farming of chemical fertilizers. And the second reason is that they use it for energy storage. You can make hydrogen with ammonia, or you can even power equipment directly with ammonia. They make it out of the air, and it just takes electricity. So it doesn't take, we have all the raw materials to do it. And if you read the geothermal working report, they talk about that we could make enough ammonia to actually export it. So it's from a corporation standpoint, how can we create jobs? How can we, create fuel and fertilizer and those kind of things. The drawback is that they'll have to put it next to the geothermal power plants. Besides besides the other environmental impacts, it's very dangerous. If you saw a couple months ago, they had a ammonia explosion in Texas that killed a whole bunch of people. It's inappropriate. We believe that industry and all geothermal and the rest of the industries are inappropriate land use to be put in the middle of residential areas.
Okay.